TV. Your will, your choice.
Good afternoon, our dear viewers. My name is Mable Kamuli, and once again I'm here with the Entrepreneurship Show. And today we have an important guest in studio. She's a businesswoman. I'll not introduce her, she will introduce herself because I might make mistakes with her names. And we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, an issue that's bothering most Ugandans today. Madam, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm by the names of Nachsan Olivia. I'm a businesswoman, though not in a very busy business, but still I know what is taking place in our economy.
Well, thank you, Miss Olivia, for introducing yourself and for allowing us host you on PTV. And as I told you, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. Yeah, when the economy was fully opened in January, Ugandans celebrated. They almost had an overnight of dance because they were free to go and work. But that happiness was lived short because the prices don't seem too appealing. Whatever people expected is not what they are getting as the year moves on. So, Madam Olivia, what do you have to say about the current state of the economy?
As we are in our country, we always move with the uncertainty of prices mostly, though even wages are not certain. So, what we are seeing in Uganda, each day you find different prices. Something you bought yesterday, you cannot expect the same price today. And I don't know what forces really, but it is the case. Whatever you bought yesterday, today is on a different price. Tomorrow it will be even different. So we are moving in a life of uncertainty.
It's a life of uncertainty indeed, because in January when the economy opened, inflation dropped from 2.9% the way it was in December the previous year, and it dropped to 2.7%. But as we talk now, as of 30th May, it is at 6.8%, which is a threat. It's a disease that's threatening all of us, and it's threatening most people in business, people in households. What advice do you have for people in business on the rising prices? What can you tell them? What should they do to remain in business without falling?
For the businessmen, I don't think they have much to do, apart from moving with the flow. Once you find the prices high, when you are purchasing things, you have also to sell at a high price, which is increasing the gap of uncertainty. All the time you will go there, it will be different prices. So my appeal should go maybe to those fiscal planners of our nation. Maybe they are the people who can change the nation and the economy at large. But the businessmen, they have nothing to do apart from coping with what is there. They have to move with the flow, like we are moving now with COVID. It is not that the COVID stopped, but we learn to live with it. So the businessmen, I just think they will learn to cope with the changing prices, changing things in the economy. So we have to move with that uncertainty as the businessmen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Olivia. Yeah, you said business people have nothing to do, but the planners in the country have a lot they need to do about inflation. But then, talking about the planners, of recent, the president addressed the nation, and part of the reasons he gave for the increasing prices is the war in Ukraine and COVID, to this post-COVID era. Do you think the war in Ukraine is playing a very big role in the increasing prices?
Though it has done something, but I don't think at a high degree. Because as I see my nation and the economy in it, our inflation is as old maybe as the regime of the president, almost the same age. So this was just of a year maybe, or less than a year. So it cannot be the factor which has brought about this uncertainty we are living in. So Uganda has other problems which brings about that uncertainty, of which maybe that law is playing a part, but it's very minimal. You cannot even see it all that much. But the other factors, like printing more money, like not engaging in other factors which bring about to the income in Uganda, like being in debts all, like that public debt. Even when we are still young, when it wasn't this regime, we used to study and say the problem of Uganda is what? The public debt. But as this, I see Uganda now, we are living in a country where we have to be in debts all the time. And I even come to a time of wondering, are we really independent or not? Because we are living in times of public debts all the time. Even we used to think we have a stadium of our own, but we no longer, because it belongs to those people who gave us the debts, the loans. So I don't think that war is playing a big part. By the way we plan, the way we live, the way we think we are independent, yet we are still independent, those are the factors which are bringing in that uncertainty.
Yeah, Miss Olivia has talked about a very important aspect, which is the debt burden. Yeah, and that will be a topic for another day. And one thing I want to ask her, she has said the money they print out, the money is no longer of value, and the inflation is as old as might be the regime. I don't know, but I remember after Obote left, when Museveni was coming, I remember they devalued the shilling by 2 zeros. There was those are the some of the reforms they made, the NRM reforms in 1987, yeah, when the regime was coming into power. So, do you think the same measures can be applied, some of those reforms that were applied to increase the value of the shilling can still work today?
No, thank you. I think that will be the major step we should take. Because as far as I remember, that time I was in school, we were paying in 400 something, but when that money was changed and it gained some value, we came back to paying 200, 300, I mean hundreds, not even 1,000. But when we used to pay 400,000 and above, because I was in a poor family, so we used to pay to engage in law schools. But now, I think even now, if that same measure is taken, we shall still gain something, some stand in the international market. Because we can no longer go back to a single country's market. We are in a global market where things in Uganda affect even other countries. So if we keep our money useless as it is now, we are outside of the market.
Okay, thank you. There are some reforms we need to do, some things we need to do that we are done in the past, so that we can revive our economy, Miss Olivia says. Let us go for a short commercial break. We come back and discuss more on the prices, how they affect a common man, how they affect a business person, and how the country and the measures the government can put up to curb the increasing prices.
PTV, your will, your choice.
You're welcome back from the short commercial break, and thank you for loving the Entrepreneurship Show and always tuning in. Today, as I told you, I have Miss Olivia. She's a businesswoman, and we are talking about the increased prices of commodities, which is bothering most Ugandans, which is bothering all of us, regardless of your economic status. Miss Olivia, and today as we talk, the oil price is at 6,300 in most fuel stations. How do you think the increase in oil prices is affecting the prices of other commodities?
The increase. Now in our country, if you increase the transportation, you have increased everything. So the prices of fuel just increase all the prices because there is nothing they don't transport. Even services are transported. Everything needs transport. So whenever you increase the transportation, all things will go high. With a claim that now fuel is very expensive, there is no way we can transport commodities, there is no way we can transport workers, there is no way. So everything is rotating on that. And what increases that price is not the work, it is the taxes. Because when you go to the petrol stations and inquire from them, they will tell you the amount now they are charging them as taxes. So even when you go further to inquire why taxes are high. They are just telling you that's the only way the economy will get what? Income, because they are getting their revenue from taxes. So they are saying there is no way they can do without taxes, and each public servant demands for more pay. So in Uganda we need to change a lot to see we can stabilize our economy. So if you don't do that a lot to change things, we are still down, because the prices for fuels will not come down. Still they will claim that every aspect they need transportation. In everywhere in Uganda we need the fuel. So they just tackle that part and they just put a higher tax on fuel. These people will transfer their tax to the final consumers. The final consumers, those are the transporters. They will also transfer that burden to those people who are transporting their services, those people who are transporting their commodities. And for them also, they will transfer that burden to us, the final consumers of the commodities and of the services. So there is that cycle which will just go on. Originally it starts with the revenue they are demanding from the government, then it goes to the way the government has to get that revenue, that's the taxes. It just rotates like this. So if there is nothing to be done, maybe to see how we can get the revenue, or if people can get convinced with what they are earning, and they just claim, for us we want more pay, like teachers were demanding more last time. So if they don't change the way they think, taxes will still be high, prices will still be going high. So still we shall be living with that uncertainty of prices and wages and salaries, because all the time there will be a demand for more pay. Always there will be a demand for higher prices. Always there will be that demand.
Sorry to cut you short, but yeah, the prices are high and people are saying it's because of taxation. Even Miss Olivia has told us it's the heavy taxes that have imposed on oil that have caused the high prices. So if the taxes are responsible for the increase in prices, and the government has to tax us more and more so that it can be able to meet its debt burden, it can be able to pay the civil servants, it can be able to sustain its expenses, and the taxes have a negative impact on people. Which other things do you think the government can invest in, or Ugandans, which other things do you think Ugandans can do so that they can not only look up to taxes as a source of revenue? What other things, which other livelihoods do Ugandans have to invest in, do they have to engage in to overcome this?
Before, our country used to have the parastatals, but they sold them off and things were privatized. So I don't think without taxes Uganda can get any revenue. That's their main source, and almost the only source we have. Because if you get loans, that's not our income. We are just increasing the burden. The loans we get from other countries, just a burden of Uganda, not a source of income. Because that money never belongs to us. Those people we are just those people's investment. Because when they give us their money, we have to pay back with the interests, of which they are high. So the only source we have, it's that taxes. So I don't think we can say we can do away with taxes, but we have to change the tax base and the way we get the taxes. So at present, they just say a fixed amount. Say like on retail shops, they put different categories, different classes, and say this class they are giving this amount, this class they are giving this amount, of which it doesn't cater for these ones who are just going to start up. So what I think we may maybe change, instead of that fixed amount to be taxed, it will be maybe on a rate system that as you earn is how you are to pay. So, and when you bring out that, they say still on those taxes which are there, still again you are going to pay as you earn, which is just a double taxation, and it's just confusing what the countrymen. So if we can change the way we tax and the tax bases, I think we shall be having something which will control the prices and the wages a little bit.
Yeah, and on the issue of taxation, when you have a wholesale shop in Chukubo, you are likely to pay 470,000 for tax. And remember, a wholesale person in Chikubo is different from that one in any other place. Is different from that one in Kabalagala, in Bunga, in Machinde, and the ones in Chikubo might be making more money than the others elsewhere. How do you think it affects people joining business? How do you think the tax system affects everyone? How do you think it can even be revised so that it doesn't encroach so much on people?
The way I'm seeing how it is done, those classes, they are categorized according to the place where the business is. So you cannot say people in remote areas, they can be charged the same as those in Chikubo. So people of Chikubo, they have their different class, and people in urban places, in other places, they have also their own classes. Though still I'm saying this fixed amount, they say, limits other people to join business. So you might be having some little capital, you want to join Chikubo, you have secured the place, but still they are telling you to pay tax equivalent to those ones who have already been there in business. That's why I'm saying we should go back to the rate system. You pay as according to what you earn, according to the capital you have. They pay like you are keeping your books properly. They say your sales have been this, so you are taxing on your sales of the month or the year. So that's what I think will be something which will not chase away people from business, because they will be paying as they earn.
So Miss Olivia, you're saying if people can keep proper books of accounts, they come, they revise the books, and then they tax you according to your records. How about this scenario that made chase Indians from Uganda, whereby Indians used to keep the proper books of accounts in their language, in the Hindu, which Ugandans could not understand, and they put lies in the English books of accounts? Want people what? Deprive the tax body from the real sales they are making, from the real records, and give them lies. Will the company benefit? Will the country benefit?
I think the country has auditors. You cannot fool an auditor with your books, because they know where to check and they know what to look for. So I don't think that will be all that much. What I just see as a problem, people don't know how to keep books of accounts. But once they are told, you just put there, you record the old receipts, you record what you get out, what you gave out, you record this. So those auditors are very good. Within a short time, they will come about with the actual figures they are looking for, and then you will be taxed well.
Okay, better taxation methods is the suggestion Ms. Olivia has given us, so that we can cope up with good taxation, so that Ugandans can give taxes without complaining. And I have another issue that's bothering Ugandans of recent. That is the parish development model. The country is crying, yes, high prices, and then the sweet government of Uganda comes out with a policy of parish development model, which is supposed to help us boost our economy. It's supposed to help a small person in the village who is affected by the high prices and has no livelihood, has no source of income. Do you think this is an effective way of helping people overcome this problem?
To me, I think this is just a game politicians play. Like during COVID period, they said they are going to help people who are down by giving them, was it 100,000 per person? Many people who need that money never got it. Even this parish model, I heard they are saying they are going to give them 1 million of Ugandan shilling, of which I'm seeing as if they are giving them lunch, breakfast and supper for the day, according to Ugandan condition now. So what can somebody do in 1 million in Uganda? Can you lay chicks? What can you do? Can you go and buy a calf in a village? Nothing that a 1 million can do for Ugandans. Really, that is a game politicians play. And they do just to convince people, to make people shout. Because that money of the COVID, they gave mainly to drunkards, because drunkards, they know how to shout. And that money never reached their homes. They drank it. Just within one night, it was stripped off. Like even that 1 million can be done the same way. It cannot even cater fees for one child. It cannot do any business. So as if they are just making Ugandans to look silly before them.
So you think the parish development model is a joke, or it is yeah, according to you, it's not going to help Ugandans? So if giving out solid cash to Ugandans will not help solve the problem, what other methods, what better things do you think the government can do? Which better activities do you think can help lift the source of income for a poor Ugandan who is struggling with this economy right now?
Before, they had a program called Bonabagagawale, where if you are people who have interest of rearing chickens, they could give you 100 birds plus feeds for almost 3/4 of the period. That was okay, though the way they distributed it wasn't good. So I don't know what they can do. Really, those people also have problems, because when they come back to the LCs, those LCs will just look for their friends. They will just look for ways of maybe making their stomachs satisfied, not thinking about the poor Ugandans. So I don't know what they can do to uplift Ugandans, because that way, when they used to collect people, they say maybe for you are in piggery, they give them pigs and maybe feeds for the start. That one was okay. But the problem was on the way they distributed it. So even this 1 million will be distributed to friends who will just use it within a day to satisfy their stomachs. So I don't know how the government can do, what they can do to uplift the Ugandans who are just down there, who are not even friendly to the governing body. So I don't know.
So you feel Bonabagagawale through NADS and other projects was a better option than giving solid cash to people, except the problem is you critique the way it was run and the people who were in it, because they used to like they give pigs to the LC1. The LC1 puts friends and family on the list and doesn't include people. What do you think the government can do so that the programs become successful, so that the programs are not misused by those greedy leaders?
The problem I see, because of this, is it called the party system? That party system brought all the problems. But if they left things to go under the movement system as it was, that they are looking at people with their individual merits, it would be a little bit better, because people will all be the same. But now, if you are interested in an LC person of any other party, we'll only look for those people of that party. We'll not look for other people. Even the movement itself became a party now. It's no longer the movement we voted for. Now it is the NRM party. So even if you say we are under movement, still they are under NRM party. So everything is just now under those party systems. So everybody will look for the party member, not for Ugandans. So Uganda is divided into different parties, which are different nations now. We have a nation of NRM, we have a nation of DP, we have a nation of this new one of Bobby. It
is NUP.
Those are the nations now we have. We are no longer having Ugandans. We are having those different parties. We are no longer having Ugandans. So I don't know how I will say that thing will be distributed to benefit Ugandans as Ugandans, because now everybody is looking for his party. All the time there are fights between the parties. So we are no longer brothers and sisters. We are no longer Ugandans, but we belong to those different parties.
So that means we Ugandans ourselves are selfish. We don't wish our friends well. You don't wish your sister well. You don't wish your neighbor well. So everything is partisan. So once things are in the NR, like the LC1 is NUP, things will go to NUP members in the village. Once the thing is NRM, the same story. So what do you think we should do? So you think we should go back to preaching the gospel of brotherhood, the gospel of unity, the gospel of sisterhood to people, so that we can develop, because we are tired. We are tired of the government trying to put things to help us, and they don't help us.
That will be a better start over.
We need to preach the gospel of sisterhood. And another thing I want Miss Olivia to talk about is the dollar, like the dollar against the shilling. A dollar against the shilling today, a dollar costs 3,840 Ugandan shilling. An issue which is making it hard for international trade. Ugandans can't trade abroad because actually the shilling is useless. You go with 50,000 in a supermarket, in a market, the only big thing you can shop from there is a green cavera of things which can't even take you for a week. What do you think can be done so that the shilling is not overdevalued?
We just need to revalue our money. That's the thing. Because there is no way we are going to say we are going to rock ourselves from the international market. Because now the whole nation is under one market. It is a global market. So once we made our money to be, what can I say?
We devalued it and made it useless.
Yeah, the money is useless because it lost that very important principle. Money has to be scarce. But now even you find a young girl or a boy having millions. So it's useless. Money has to be scarce. It has to maintain its original principle of being scarce. So if they can make it go back to their scarcity, we shall be having the same problems in the market. We shall be having the same shares in the global market. But like now, we are just being underlooked. Because if they see our currency, they just say, what's this? Are they leaves from trees? What are they? Is it sand from the desert areas? They don't even know what Ugandan shilling is. Even me, at times I wonder, you just go with your almost 4,000 just to get $1. Just $1, of which there is nothing you can buy in $1 in their countries. So even I have a fear. Like now we are crying over prices for tomatoes. When you go, they give you 3 tomatoes, 1,000. And these farmers can make a union and then start to sell their tomatoes abroad, of which even if they say each tomato is $1, it will be all too much for them. Because now we are giving them 3, they are giving us 3 for 1,000. Now of which they will be giving 1 for 4,000 Ugandan shilling. So if there is nothing to be done on our currency, we are down and we are continuing to go down.
Yeah, and I remember before there was a reform where the Ugandan shilling was so valuable after those reforms, where they devalued the shilling after inflation, after that saga, where inflation was too much, even above 100, about 300%, and there was a resolution where you would have 10,000, you had to take 10,000 to the LC or somewhere else, and they scrap off the shilling, they scrap off 2 zeros, and then on top of scrapping off, they devalue it by 30%, and you remain with 70%. Do you think that thing can work for us now?
That's what my dream is, and that's what I'm praying for. That one will be good for us because it will bring us back to the international market. We shall be having a say in the international market. But right now, they are seeing our money as something, they are seeing it as a joke. Or as we see these leaves, that they are plenty. Leaves in a savanna land. Because if you sell leaves in a desert, it will be expensive because the leaves in a desert, they are scarce. But here in a savanna land, leaves are plenty. So if we continue with this flow of money without revaluing it anyhow, in any way, we have no place in the international market.
So, what advice would you give to an ordinary Ugandan who is living in poverty and is struggling to make ends meet because the parish development model may not work for us? There is nothing that might work for us. Do you think they should go back to the village and dig? Or do you think we should because food is the main driver of inflation, do you think all Ugandans, we should turn into farmers to help overcome this high price challenge?
That cannot work, and that can never be, because you cannot all say we abandon other sectors and just engage in one sector. So what I'm saying, if the government can pull that sector, that agriculture sector, and it becomes a revenue set for the state itself also, we shall get some revenue, things will change a little bit. And for us other Ugandans, I think we should just learn to live with the flow. We should just learn to live with the flow. But right now, we are panicking. Some of them are even committing suicide. Some of them are abandoning their responsibilities. Some of them are running away from the children. Now you leave your children to who? Because the economy is not promising to change tomorrow. But we have to learn to live with what is there. Until time will come, the government will hear our cry. The money will be revalued. We shall be having some grace period now. It will find us when we are still there. Like they said, now let us learn to live with COVID. Because COVID is never ceased. COVID is still there, but you learn to live with it. So that's why all sectors were opened. We are all working. Though COVID is still there. Even this saga of the inflation, of high prices, we just should just learn to live with it. Time will come when they will think of it. When they will revalue our money, then we shall be having something. That's what I think. Time will tell.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Olivia, for being with us and discussing with us such important issues which are bothering most Ugandans right now. And I would love to ask you to give your last remarks as we come to the end of this show.
Thank you for hosting me. My last remarks is a cry to the government. At least they should do something to revalue our money. At least they should do something to change the taxation base. At least they should do something to change the way they leave the taxes. They go back to the rate system, not this fixed rate of taxes, because it's chasing us from the businesses. So that's my cry to the governing body. I will not say to the government because I myself am inclusive in the government, so my cry is to the governing body. And my greatest cry goes to those fiscal planners. At least they make our money to be scarce like it has to be. This system of printing more money and this other policy, one time the president said, Sera showing off nature talina. I think that one also should be changed. We should get at least a body which will be responsible for wages, for salaries, and for the commodity prices. At least they say you shouldn't sell exceeding this price. You shouldn't do this service exceeding this price or less than this price. So I think that will be the best thing for Ugandans, and that I think will change the way we live, it will change our economy, it will change a lot.
Thank you, Miss Olivia. It's been me, Mable, with the Entrepreneurship Show. Thank you for always tuning in. And to my producer, Brenda, thank you for being there. Have a nice time, guys. See you next time as we talk business.
PTV, your will, your choice.